Thank you a lot for inviting me, Ollie and Thomas, and the colleagues at Kreative Räume. I'm sorry, in Denmark we of course learn the German language in school, in the primary school, but like we stop too early. We never get that good at it. So I understand most of what you're saying, but I have to do the presentation in English. I'm very sorry. But it's such an important like theme you are raising here today. Like Leerstandsaktivierung, like this activating of the empty spaces, because and the circularity, because there was citizens here in Vienna more than 1,000 years ago, and if we don't fuck up the planet, there will like also be people here in 1,000 years, we hope. And in this circle of time, there are so much like transformations. So the emptiness will be now today and some other places in 10 years and in 50 years. And maybe it's not only about activating the empty space, maybe it's actually also about creating some like gaps in between development and speed. Because everything today is like speed. Like it's developing fast today, so we have to also like create some pockets. And that's why I'm very happy that the Stadt Wien also find this important, because in my country, like politicians, you know how far they think? 4 years. And in a gap of 1,000 years, 4 years is very little. So it's very important that this topic also is on the political horizon. I think is super important. Like I saw the water on the bottle. You say on the back, it says, erfrischt seit 50.000 Jahren. Okay, so like 1 year of vacancy or 5 years of Leerstand. My name is Kristian. I am the founder of Maltfabrikken, this project that is a case that I'm going to tell you about. And I'm very honored to be here. So I will take you through a little time span to begin with. And like in 1861, this factory started out as a factory for producing malt for beer. We know like Denmark loves beer. And it became the second biggest producer of malt in Denmark. Exported to all over Europe, even South America. So like a big also a big economical power in the town, with a lot of people working there. And why I tell you this is because there are some things before the places are empty. There are things before the Leerstand. And there will be things after. And this before, it creates a really strong bond to local people, because if you have a big economy, a very important place in the town, people have friends who work there. They work there maybe themselves, they have family. The project has a big power until the day it kind of closes down. This closed down in 98, but people had very strong feelings about it. Can you come to think of a place that closes down and leaves like a gap of feeling also? Because when you lose the jobs, it's like, oh, now it goes down. And in our town, this feeling was very top of mind, because it was not only that factory that closed down in 98, it was also the steel factory, the leather factory, and the slaughterhouse. So many different places closed down at the same time, leaving a huge unemployment and like a negative spirit. So it was like there was like a little bit depressive feeling. We are left out. No one is supporting our development. And that is where the project starts, with an empty building, like the theme you're talking about today. A lot of resources like stuff, bricks, space, but also like, where do we go now? And this is where I think the topic of this symposium is important, because in that time of empty things, you can choose directions. There was like, in our time, there was like this one solution to like remove all of this away, like, and then to build a shopping mall right here. So what way to choose? It's very important. But we didn't want a shopping mall because like we needed something to connect us together again. Now we lost all those jobs. The municipality of our town, they were in a deep economical crisis, and they said like, shopping mall, yes, it's good. Tear down the factory. But the people in the town said, no, we really want to save our history, we want to do something else. So we started crowdfunding for saving the factory. Like a riot. Save the malt factory, don't tear it down. Politicians, listen to us. Like even the big business people of the town gathered to an event and stood up on an old VW Volkswagen pickup from 1970 with megaphones. Save the factory, politicians go home. So it was like really like the first time there was like we are in a small town. It was the first time ever there was a demonstration. So it was very important because exactly the time of emptiness is a time also for thinking about which decisions to take and experimenting. So actually we bought the factory. We crowdfunded 3 million euro. We made a crowdfunding campaign. And yeah, it seems like a lot, but there's also people who have more than you and me. And we sold shares, like a folk share we call it, for 120 euro. But then some people said, I want to buy 1,000 shares. Okay, you can have it. So in the end, after 3 years of fundraising, we had a lot of money to buy an area of 12,000 square meters with several buildings. So like also a crowdfunding record in Denmark. No one ever crowdfunded that much. But this is because it meant a lot to us. And we didn't want the shopping center. Because shopping center, then the local street with all the shops will suffer, right? So we bought it as a community. So this was it was non-profit, and we bought it like in a neighborhood. Made is it called a Verstiftung, association, and we put it in there. And like the municipality that has said like no, we don't want to be a part of this. They said like, whoa, okay, you can really fundraise a lot of money. Like maybe we will be a part of it. But what happened in that time is maybe what this symposium is about. Because how much magic and energy is suddenly created when people, like real neighbors, go together and says like, yeah, this is also my place now. Let's do a greenhouse in the courtyard. Let's build up a temporary greenhouse of partly reused materials. And at that time, you know, the refugees were coming a lot to Denmark, walking on the highways. I know you had a lot of talks here also about the refugees coming from south. What should we like? How could we invite them in? So we made the kitchen without borders in that temporary greenhouse, and the refugees, they made food together with locals, and we ate there like every second night. So we created like a temporarily energy, both that was very local, but also, you know, international. And in the buildings we had, you know, like it was very hard with the fire department to use the buildings temporarily, but we had art exhibitions, children, culture events, markets, all kinds of stuff. And during that phase, exploring the emptiness, this gap of time, the ownership of a whole town was suddenly so strong. Because if we go back like to this one, actually a lot of people, they like that one because we have no McDonald's. And a lot of the young people said like, a shopping mall like with escalators, McDonald's, H&M, maybe it's good for us. So if we had to vote about it back then, I think half of the town would say, yeah, we would like that one. After playing together and dreaming together, no one wanted the McDonald's anymore. They said like, yeah, this is more me. And even the politicians said, yeah, it was a good idea we had there. Like, it's also our idea. And that's what it's about. So we are in the countryside, a rural area. There's only 6,000 people living there, so it's a very small. But in the summer, there's 60,000. So we have this tourism aspect in the it's along the coastline, so it's like a nature area. Like, we have a lot of difficulties here, like downside. It's a minus. We are in the countryside. We lost a lot of jobs in this area. We have very bad infrastructure. You have to come by bus, and it's like not running very often. There's no educations, only up till 9th grade in the primary school, so we don't have any education at all. No gymnasium, no university. And we have a very mixed population also with social problems. But hey, we are creativity because we need to be, else you cannot live there. And we are local and global at the same time. Because a lot of international artists and creative people have moved there for several years. So the purpose of creating this project there was a lot of different reasons why we did it. The first one was that there was so much negative thoughts about our town. So we lost the hope because we lost all the jobs, and we really had no lack of self-confidence. Do you understand? Yes. And we wanted to kind of succeed in all of these different areas of thematics, not only art or culture, also taking a social responsibility or creating space for the new companies that were developing in our area. So the plan was to reactivate after like temporarily use for many years. We wanted to reactivate the whole building, to start a new use and life of the building, and create like space outside of the building and also inside of the building, the 5,000 square meters. So we needed to like kind of get a lot of money to do this. So we had it all fundraised through different means. And after some years of building, it looks like this today. And we will get back to this later. This is just some figures that are from a report that was made of the impact. Because like you could say, let's go back to 2010. If we had chosen to build a shopping mall, what would be the impact? Let's think about it. What would be the impact? Would anyone invite me to Vienna to talk about the shopping mall in a small town in Ebeltoft? Would anyone like think of this outside our little town? If they built the shopping mall, would there be shops or would it be empty? So many shopping malls, right? They're empty. But we have so much data here about how much economy that is going through this factory, because we have been so popular. We have 500,000 guests each year, which is too much. It's too much. But people find it super nice, this creative, multi-diverse cultural center and the activities that are there. We have events every day, a lot of events. So I think I will just get back to this these number figures later maybe, because we have a session at 2 o'clock that is a panel discussion about this impact and also the economy it's driving, and time is ticking, so I will get back to this, but maybe you just read a few of them already. Like, imagine that in these buildings, now we have 7 buildings, we are building one more, so 8 buildings we will end up with until now. But there are 35 companies, like 74 people have their daily work there. We have, I don't know how many events a year, maybe 500 events or something like that. We have a lot of content. Okay, I take this. This was just like also to show that when you put in these creative activities in a project like this, some politicians are very afraid that they're going to pay for all of it. They're afraid that they will have to pay for all the running costs, but actually we pay, like as the association, we pay 83% of the expenses. We are only supported by the municipality by 17%. That is not very much. So we are gaining a lot of economy because we still make malt, we still brew beer. A lot of people are coming to drink the beer. We earn money, they drink some more beer, we earn some more money. Experience, art, culture, people pay rent to stay there. So it's gaining a lot of energy. Okay. This reuse and the resources, that is the themes of today, and the space that we call Leerstand, emptiness, or the time in between. It's super sustainable because the most sustainable in the building sector is not to build. It's sustainable to build 0 square meter. But of course we cannot like never develop again. We need to readapt to how the world is changing, like since 1,000 years ago, today, and in 1,000 years. So if you have to build and have to develop, then it's super important to do it in a way where you really lower the footprint of CO2, of course, and that is by using the energy you have in this empty period. And you have to use the history of the buildings and beauty. And beauty is often overseen as a factor in sustainability. Like, which buildings in Vienna is still here that was built 1,000 years ago? Can you mention some? The church on the square? No? Yes? Yes? Some, yeah. But there are not so many. We have to build everything from now on so it will last for 1,000 years. We have to build flexible. We have to build like, and really think about it, because we, like right now we are using in Denmark at least 4 times the planet. Like if we have 4 planets, that's how much we are using. So this is not sustainable. So circularity and sustainability is the only way if we need to be here still in 1,000 years. And this movement and this way of thinking that Kreative Räume is putting on the table today, this symposium, it is something that is all over Europe on the lips. They're talking about it now. In what's it called? New European Bauhaus. In all the talks in the European Union. How do we do this? How do we take care of the future? And actually Maltfabrikken was awarded for so many different prizes for this idea about thinking, temporarily use, and also reusing everything. We can, if we don't want to have this room as a gym hall anymore, I think there's a table up there, the basketball. It could be a nice table. This floor could be super nice for also tables. I see we could make some beds out of this, and we have to think about our resources. And for this, Maltfabrikken had architecture and design awards from all over the world because we reused everything we could. And even the Mies van der Rohe, have you heard about Mies van der Rohe? Some have, yeah. Even the Mies Award, that is maybe the world's biggest architectural prize, is right now in Maltfabrikken. The exhibition and the director was there a couple of weeks ago, and we were shortlisted for the finals of this. So that is kind of, if they took and they built the shopping mall, it would be a different Ebeltoft. And right now, people from Copenhagen, Berlin, etc., are moving to my little town. Would they move there if we chosen this shopping mall? I think no. So this is my message for you today. I don't know if it's the last slide or... Yeah, it's just a picture of one of the events where I often go and talk together with other about this, and it is like... It's also the power that, we've been doing cooperative collaboration for many, many years. Like the Kooperativ, is that the word in German? Like when we it was founded, some of the in Denmark, like when we had the Brugsforening shopping associations so long ago. So we have the power in our history also to rethink together in this. Yeah. I hope it made sense. I hope you could understand most of what I was saying. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we did. Thank you so much for your presentation. Really impressive what has been achieved in Ebeltoft, such a small town or a small place that where the community got together to really achieve something. Impressive work. And at the same time, what's also really nice that you had the study which really looked at the numbers, because that's something we kind of found out or feel right now that this is more necessary actually with this kind of projects, to produce numbers to show what really the additional value of those projects is in an economical sense, but also other factors. And so you're going to be part also of this workshop this afternoon that is about the quantitative effects of this kind of projects. So thank you a lot for coming and presenting. And are there any questions from the listeners? I'm going to start here with Helene.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your great presentation. Very inspirational and really touched me. I was wondering, who was like the driver of the whole project at the beginning? Did it really come from the citizens, or was it like a small group of people? Because usually you need some people who like for many years are behind it and who take up their free time and stuff. So how did it all started?
Yeah, thank you for that question. It's so nice to think back of this journey, because we are back at like 15, 20 years. And I think everyone in my town was dreaming about this magical fortress. Like the kids, they said like, maybe there's a wizard living up there, because it was empty and still like full of magic. But people had very hard finding the way to solve the problem, because it was owned by a private developer. And he wanted to build tall new architecture for the money. And the project came from a group of people that were local. It was me and some other friends from different sectors: business sector, cultural sector, educational sector. And like, I had no job at that time. I was just finished with my education. So when we started and we kind of got the permission to use the space, because it was just around the financial crisis, so there was no shopping mall being built like just in the coming years. So we could rent it from him, the developer, and that's when it spread from 5 people to 5,000 people in a few years. So it came like from private, not public, bottom-up initiative, but in the beginning, a very few people. But I think many have dreamt about it for years. Yes.
And a lot of people got involved in the end. I think there was another question here. Did I see that correctly? Yeah.
Maybe it's 2 questions. The first is like how are you organized as a collective, as an association, and are you still organized like that? And The other is maybe connected to that. I mean, how did you manage not to get mad in the process of organizing? I think, but no, not mad because of the load of work that only some few people often have in this kind of organization of projects. I mean, we had a talk with people from the what was it called in Minster? Whatever. They had been talking about how about their organization work and so on, and it was like, okay, we are only 4 people who fully understand the whole process. 2 are already burned out, and the others are happy when the process is over. So, I mean, it's quite important to get healthy out of these things.
Thank you. 2 very good questions, especially the last one is difficult to answer. So I'll take the first one first. We organized as an association to begin with, like the sports club is an association, like the jazz club is an association, because we needed some legal entity to know if we should ask for a small sum to pay our running costs for the first year, so we could have an event. Very soon, this started to be big. We were all volunteers for many years, and suddenly, like when people started to buy our shares, which just was donations, like we could not handle that many money in that association. And if we should buy a whole part of the area, this is like a part of the city, we needed to have another structure. So we created a foundation. So it's actually a commercial foundation, but has a non-profit purpose. So we can earn money, we can develop the city, we can do a lot of stuff. And the legislation in Denmark is very good for this stuff, because we are at the one side for profit, but our purpose, why we are there, in the end, is non-profit. So no one can ever earn money from this. I can of course get paid, and people who work in the cafe can get paid and stuff, but no one can get money out of the development and sell this. It can never be sold. So that's if we at some point get very rich, we have to donate money to the children's club and to the Boy Scouts, etc. So today we have this double construction where all this very, very expensive, now it's an expensive part of the city, is owned by the foundation, and the foundation has a sister, which is an organization that takes care of all the cultural programming, because it needs to be in another place. And the board, the excom of the 2 entities, they have meetings together all the time. So they have the same strategy, the same vision, the same purpose, you can say, but we have a lot of benefits from having this double structure. That's how we do it in Denmark. The thing about not burning out, oh yeah, it is difficult. But I think just like we had so much belief in this project, I never expected to, I wasn't tired in those 15 years. Yeah, I think at some point you need to go from volunteer to more organized. If we were volunteer for 15 years with this amount of work, we would definitely have burned out, because you need to know a lot of stuff. In the beginning, you only have your dream and your stomach, heart feeling, but then you need to know about legislation in buying property, how to set up an architectural competition with international participants, the law about creating a new foundation, tenants, building permits, all European funding. Oh yeah, and that's a hard one. So I think an important advice that we really did was to celebrate a lot. So drinking champagne is very important, and in the timeline you have to do it like, oh yeah, now we have this summer party, let's celebrate it. Now we have sold 1,000 shares, let's celebrate it. Now we can buy the building, have a huge party for all of the citizens in the town. Now we have the architectural competition, a lot of parties. Now we start to build, have a party. Now we are halfway through the building, party. You need to like take those small successes, because they are also like steep crisis, and that's when you almost burn out if the developer says now you only have 14 days left to get me the money. Oh shit! So you need to build energy up with champagne.
Yeah, that's a good advice, maybe. Thank you a lot, Kristian. Really nice project, and definitely this is a huge task here to find the energy to do the transition from this kind of more activist start of many projects to get to a more professionalized long-term project. That's definitely a huge task for many projects here as well. So thank you a lot, and I guess there's going to be the possibility to ask more questions during the workshop later on.